Well, the Australian film and TV industry has been left devastated this weekend by the passing of beloved actor Julian McMahon.
From hit shows like Nip Tuck and Charm to blockbuster films like Fantastic Four, Julian left his mark on screens and hearts around the world. Joining us now this morning on Weekend Today to remember him is his former co-star and friend and fellow actor, Lincoln Lewis. Hey Link, good to see you.
Good to see you guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. Sorry to hear this news. I know that you were friends, you worked together. How did you feel when you heard the news?
Yeah, man, I think like everyone that heard it, both in the film and television industry and just the general public alike, everyone was pretty shocked and devastated because I think it was, no one really had much of an idea. So it was pretty shocking to hear because obviously such a household name and such a recognisable face that we've seen, like you said, on so many projects, films and television shows. And so when the news came up on social media, it was just, like I was even talking to Mum about it last night, it was just such a big shock. So yeah, I think everyone's feeling quite the same way.
Lincoln, you shared the screen with Julian in the film Bait. Tell us, what was that like? How are you remembering him from those days?
You know what, it was one of those things where as a big sort of a sci-fi action film geek, I loved him from Fantastic Four most of all. So when I first saw him, he just had this presence when he first came in for the cast read-through. It was just one of those ones where you couldn't look away from him, much like when he's on screen. He just has that magnetic presence. And so I remember going up to him the first time and I was so nervous, hand was shaking, everything like that. But for all that he's done and all that he'd achieved at the time, he just had this beaming smile and he just said like a big hello to me, brought me in, sat me down, and then just started having a chat about life. And for a kid who's just trying to make his way, and you see this guy that you've seen on so many films and television shows, it was just such a real beautiful life lesson, a real experience to sort of show that no matter what you've achieved, you can just bring people in like that. And throughout the filming process, that was what he was like. Every time he saw me, stops, has a big chat, asks how things going, have another chat about everything. And I was just like, it was one of those things where you just get really blown away. And I think that's something that a lot of people who have worked with him have that similar experience.
Oh, they're beautiful memories. And I must say your Instagram post was beautiful as well. Also on the last day of filming, I believe there was a touching gesture from Julian as well.
Yeah, I remember some of the crew called me because we're filming at two different sound stages. And so my stuff had just finished. And so some of the crew called me and said, Link, get to Movie World now. Julian has just organised, he didn't tell anyone, he didn't say anything, he just organised an ice cream truck to come and spend, I think about 6 hours in the back lot. And any time throughout the day, the crew could just go outside, get ice cream, soft serve, anything he wanted. It was all on Julian's money. And he didn't tell anyone, he just organised it. And the van sat outside for the entire day of shooting for the final day. And that was just, it seemed like that was just the way Julian was. And so, you know, like I said, a lot of people would have such fond memories of him, both watching him and working with him. And from my own personal experience with him, it's something that I'll forever cherish. And I'm very thankful to have spent that time with Julian.
Yeah, you can really tell the make of a man with how he treats the crew and those who help him look so good on stage as well. Julian had such a really diverse career. You touched on it, mentioning Fantastic Four. You know, he did everything from soaps to the Hollywood blockbusters. What do you think, Lincoln, made him so special as an actor?
You know what, that's from my own, from watching him, I think it's one of those things where, you know, when, like, we have so many actors, Hollywood stars, everything like that, but whenever Julian was on screen, he was magnetic. He had this commanding man presence about him. And so, like I said, from the moment I met him in person to watching him on screen, it's like you couldn't take your eyes off him. And he's so talented. Everything, you know, from what you're watching on the screen right now, and even working with Nicolas Cage on The Surfer and everything, you just can't look away from him, and his talent speaks for itself. But I think that magnetic, commanding, leading man presence that he has is something that you just see from whenever he's on the screen. So I think that for me is what stood out the most when watching him and when meeting him.
Lovely words, Lincoln. Lovely memories. Thanks for joining us on Weekend Today.
Cheers for having me, guys. Appreciate it.